Good afternoon, everyone. John Turnbull from Powder Blue Sports. And we are almost a day after going live with baseline basketball, and wanted to cover a few things that I forgot to cover last night. One thing in particular is the paper individual scoring sheet. For those who want to keep track of every single player and what they score. I forgot to cover this last night. The helpers will take care of this automatically. But if you don't want to use the individual scoring on the bottom of the other paper score sheets for the team scores, you can go ahead and use this as a second page. So we have half the page for the road, half for the home team. And basically all you need to do is put your roster right here in the first column. And then each arc paint free throw roll, whatever that number is, will go in this row here. And then you correspond the player that matches. So say the third player that you put in matched the number roll. You give them that number of points. That way you keep track of each player's score by segment. So once that happens, you play the whole game, and then you can total all the points up. And instead of scratching a score out, if you're keeping track of it at the bottom, using an eraser or crossing it out and putting another number in, here you can actually keep track of what the rolls were, what the roster is, and place your scores in the appropriate block, depending on what segment they happen to score in. And some additional notes that you want to put in here. You had some space to put that in. So basically that is this sheet in a nutshell. That is already up on the file section. And let's go to the helper. I refined this today. I'll be loading this as soon as I end this video here. But I did refine the pro basketball helper. I'll be doing the college and WNBA ones here shortly. And basically what I did here is, let me get rid of this name here. I made it a little bit easier to where any cell that has a light brown, go ahead and that's areas where you have to physically type something into. And I put a note on here, cells colored in light brown to be typed in pregame. So if I type in the road team, Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't know I'll just throw some random numbers in here. And then when I hit F9, because I have it in manual, let me put it in automatic. You see that the running score will auto-populate. And if I go to the recap, the name will populate on here, and the scoring leaders thing will populate. And this is the sheet that I have, which is formatted for you to save as a PDF. It's formatted so it prints out as one single sheet, whether on paper or on a PDF. So when you put that single team name in here, it goes to the recap, it goes to the stats, it also goes to here and here for the printer version. Now on the recap here, you're going to have to do some coloring and stuff, so it doesn't know I didn't put any conditional formatting in the team names and their colors, so you just have to go into the color palette here and choose your colors for whatever teams you want. And this box right here is to put a small logo next to each team. So let's say, for example, here you put your players. So let's say we'll put LeBron James in for player 1, and you put players 2 through 5 in here. And you put their corresponding scoring numbers. So say James's scoring numbers was 11 and 18. When let's see here. On the recap, you notice James's name is entered in the recap, and the printer version, LeBron's name is entered in here as well. So the more it gets filled out, the better it looks. And I'll show you a finished version here in a sec. So if you go in here and you Cleveland has an offense and say they roll an 11, which is one of James's numbers. Let's say the result is paint and score roll is 7 for 8 points, no adjustment. It's 8. And you'll notice since LeBron has the number of 11, he gets assigned the 8 points. So this here, the player score tallying will be figured up automatically. And it'll show up in there. It'll show up in the recap under the scoring. And it'll also show up here what you want if you use this for a printout or if you want to save PDF copies of your games that you've played using the helper. It also keeps track of the bench points. So say if I have a, defense 9, arc 4, 6. Now, if none of the people on here have a 6, then those points automatically get assigned to the bench. So I put the player tallies next to each, the road next to the road, home next to the home. And in order to do that, I put the dice rollers in the middle. The 3d6 is here, the 2d6 is here. And for bench players, if you want to use that, I put the 0 to 99 random number generator in that spot right there. So when the game is done, it'll look something like this. This is a game I did earlier, 95-96 Pistons and Celtics. Oh, also the TSA computer, the total score adjustment calculator, is listed here as well. So you can take your cards, put your numbers in, and it'll automatically calculate. Don't forget to type in home or road. So I type in home, it changes. And if you hit F9, that will change this back and forth between home and road. So you can use that as a decider to figure out. I'm starting to lean toward the game advantage as opposed to home team advantage, because if the road team wins the roll, they don't necessarily have home field advantage since they're not at home, but they have the game advantage as far as potentially having a higher score in the game. Maybe they're in better shape. Maybe physically they're better. So, but it does lean toward the home field team 4 out of 6 times on this is based on a 1d6. So that calculator is also included in the helper. And those are the cards I use for the game. And here you can see the full score sheet and the scoring as such as far as individual scoring. Let me blow it up here a little bit so it can be a little bit easier seen. Wesley and Fox scored 15. Raja scored 13 and 55 points by the bench. For the Pistons, Hill scored 37, 27, or 36, 27 for Houston, and Joe Dumars scored 24. And they blew out the Celtics. Detroit did have the game advantage. And as you can see, they got quite a few arcs. And the recap shows that they had 3 versus 1. And only 3 free throw categories versus 4 for the Pistons. And here you can see the scoring leaders all automatically filled in. And the game advantage, when you put the game advantage winner here in the upper right, that will translate down here. And that reminds me, I got room to put the game advantage winner in row 3 here. So I'll be doing that before I load it up. The last thing I want to talk about is the player scoring. Now, in the rules, I have stated that this individual scoring was basically a novelty item. It's not near close. It's going to be 100% perfect, but there have been some game tests done. And if you look at some of Jason Graham's replay videos, you'll see that he has some pretty close scoring to average on the, based on a 7-game series. But the players' scores here are going to be based on a number of factors. Well, not a number, maybe just a few factors. One, if a player's number, if one of their scoring numbers happens to fall in an ARC category, then that's going to give them, I wouldn't say an unfair advantage, but a higher chance of scoring more points in the game. If a player's number falls on a free throw category, and it's going to be static, then, because it always stays the same, then they will get the points that they have under that category. But here's the thing. A defense 7, the 7 is the number that determines the scoring, okay? So the category that the defensive 7 is going to have isn't necessarily going to be the same as the offensive 7. So when they roll a 7, if a player has a 7, it's not 100%. It's like 50% tied to that ARC category and 50% tied to whatever category or categories their opponents are going to have under that number. Is there a way that I can improve it? Yes. It may take some doing. It'll have to, I could look at the numbers, find those players who have the arcs or the free throws, especially if they fall under single digits. And I could knock them down, their percentages down by, I'd say, 25%, because an average score in the art category is about double that of the paint category, and the paint category. So I can take the percentages of that. I have to look back at my formulas here and see what the percentages are, and I can do that. But here's the deal: when I originally wanted 3 players, and the numbers were pretty easy to distribute across because I've only got 16 slots that I can put these numbers in. And 5 players means an average of 3. And they have to fall within the percentages that either match their percentage of the team's points that they score, or if I massage these based on what category they fall in on their offensive card, then I would have to massage the percentages as such, which means they would end up having different numbers. I will take a look at that to see if that's feasible. We've had some people play that had, I think Kareem had an 80-point game and somebody else had a 60-plus point game. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but that is a rare occurrence. And some of it is just where it rolls. I mean, a guy could roll an arc and still end up with only, 4, 5, 6 points. But when we're talking about averages, yes, if you're falling on an art category, it's going to be more. Do you want to give those art rolls to a different, to the top 2 scores? Yes, of course you do. Your bench players and your lesser, your third, fourth, and fifth highest score, when you want to compare these to the categories, they're going to want to fall into the paint free throw category. So I can take a look at that and see if there's a way that I can kind of massage it a little bit and tweak the formulas. And it's going to have to be something that I can do that's going to do it itself. Let's put it that way. After I do the initial formulas and reconstructing the look of the spreadsheet, that's something that'll have to be done. But the numbers that I create, the hash marks I put in to calculate, to make sure that the percentages are correct, that's all done manually. I don't have a formula for that, and that's way beyond my Excel experience. I can make things look pretty here, but I'm limited as far as the formulas that I know to make things work the way I want. So Google is my friend when it comes to things like that. But don't be surprised if you play the game to see strictly what a player rolls for points, then you're missing 2/3 of the fun. To me, the fun is watching the ebb and flow of the game here. You can see the Celtics went out to 11-point lead, and then Detroit went on an arc fest the third and fourth quarter. And in the recap, you can see they outscored them. They were tied in the fourth, but they outscored them 42-14 in the final quarter to pull out the victory. So, but just be aware that I am aware of the incongruities, inconsistencies of the scoring. It's not completely out of whack, but like I said, based on the roles, based on what categories they could get put in, some of the players may inherently, artificially be inheriting categories high or low, which would on average give them a higher or lower score. So that's something I will look into. And don't be surprised if I do that I will put some new improved seasons out. And I'm not going to change the categories. Although you'll notice in some of the later sets that I've done, not necessarily in years, but calendar-wise, when I've done them, I have started putting the paints more toward the middle, since those are the more common roles, and I'll put the arcs on either the top or the bottom. Here it's pretty well spread out, but you'll notice in some of the sets, and what I'm going to do in the future, I'm going to concentrate the paints more in the middle, but rest assured the percentages of each category are going to remain the same. Realistically, it really doesn't matter. I mean, the percentage, if you throw 1,000 dice, the percentages are going to come out the same of how many arcs you throw and how many free throws and paint. But when you're only dealing with, 1,000 rolls to get the same number as what you should have, and you're only rolling 10 or 15 in a game, that's a very small sample size. So that's something I'm considering doing as well. But I'm not going to be changing the categories as they stand on the current set as the sets as we have them now. So the game as far as the engine will stand. And again, I will look at the individual scoring, but like I said, in the rules, it was made to be, for the most part, a novelty item. It's fun to look at, fun to see, fun to play with, to see who scores what, and it adds a nice flavor. And I can't underestimate. Go back and look at some of Jason's videos that I've posted on here, and you'll see exactly what I mean as far as the player scoring intertwining with the scoring of the game. So I just wanted to go over a few things. Like I said, the individual scoring, I've got that for all three, pro, college, and WNBA, and also the helper that'll be going up here shortly. Let's see. The WNBA individual scoring I got to do, and a few other minor tweaks, and I'll be doing the college and WNBA helpers that'll look very similar to this. I have to change the number of segments for each. College is different, WNBA is different, so these have to be structured as such, and the formulas and such, so that everything will work out the way they're meant to work out with each type of basketball league. So enjoy the game. I'm hoping to have more seasons out soon. Like I said, I'm trying to fine tune things right now. Hopefully the sets that are available are going to be enough to whet your appetite for the first couple weeks, and then we'll start churning out some more seasons. And Selection Sunday is 13 days from today, and if Basketball Reference isolates the scoring, individual scoring for the college, I'll be having the college set out. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, 2 weeks from today on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, so you can play the 2025 tournament along with the teams. So thank you for listening, and have a great day.